Hey guys, in this video I will show you how to do another holiday design. It has a pine cone and some mistletoe on it with some fun little details. So let's get started. So first off, I have a blank tip here. I'm going to do a base coat with Simply Connect. I'm using Simply Connect, which will help not only help the gel polish to stick to the tip, but also it helps to create an even surface to work on. All right, now that that's cured, I'm gonna go in with a Modelones color. I don't know the name of this color, but it's beautiful, deep purpley red. And I'm gonna do 2 coats of this. It goes on pretty thin and transparent, so definitely recommend 2 coats no matter what you're doing. With some brands you can get away with 1 coat, but I find that with this brand everything seems to run a little more on the transparent side. So okay, so this is what 2 coats of that red color looks like. It's not completely opaque. You can see there's a little bit of translucency there, but we're gonna do a design on top of it that will cover most of that up, so I'm not worried too much about that. Okay, so I'm gonna set that aside and get some white on my palette. So because we put the dark red down, it is creating a dark background to work off of, and we want the colors that we put onto this background to be true to their actual color. And so we need to add white to the parts where we're going to paint the design in order to kind of blink out that canvas again. Getting some white on my brush, and I'm doing the pine cone. So I'm going to do just the general shape of a pine cone, which is kind of a rounded triangle. This does not look like a pine cone yet, but it will. Just get in the general shape and then we'll do some details. Okay, and then it kind of has these, if you're just looking at the silhouette of the pine cone, there are these tiers. They're like seed pods. Each one sticks out a little bit more. So obviously pine cones are a deep brown color, ranging from a deep brown color to a lighter tan color. I don't have a dark brown, but I have a maroon red and a kind of warm green. So we're gonna use those. Lock some of that down. I want a little more red than I do green. Now we mix it together. I lied about the green. All right, so now it's kind of like a cherry chocolate color, which is perfect. So we have that color, and then I'm gonna want some of this color over here, because I'm gonna mix 2 more colors. We're gonna mix black, just a little bit, this tan color. So we have our 3 brown shades, and I have my pinecone canvas. I'm gonna wipe off the sticky layer. I'm gonna start with my lightest color, and I'm just doing the tips of these seed pod things. I don't know what they're called. Sorry. Just kind of trying to mimic that natural shape. Like, they're not perfect circles. I'm letting them kind of not overlap, but I don't want them to line up perfectly with each other. And they get more clustered together as you go towards the base down here. Okay, cure that. Okay, the next color I'm gonna go in with is this cherry chocolate color. And basically, I'm just gonna go around those lighter splotches that we made and just fill in the rest of the white area. This color is meant to represent the darker tones of the pine cone, but also shadow. Okay, and then don't cure that. Let me point out to you what I'm doing. So the tops of these blobs are the harsh line of where that section of the seed pod opens up, right? And the bottom of this blob is where that section goes deeper into the pine cone, if that makes any sense. So we need to blend out the bottom of this to make it look like it's regressing into the body, the main body of the pine cone. But I'm leaving the top of these very sharp. I'm just barely blending it, really not that much. I'm gonna cure that. That's kind of a thicker layer, so I'm curing it for a full minute. Okay, now that that's cured, I'm going into my darkest brown color here. And then I'm just emphasizing the deepest shadows here. So this shadow that's in between these two, and this shadow that's right above it. And then I'm gonna go back and kind of blend some of these out. So just putting them in the general area first. Okay, and then I'm gonna wipe off my brush, flip it over, and blend it up. Alright, I'm just making sure everything is exactly where I want it. That really looks like a pine cone now, doesn't it? Pop this into the lamp. Now we're gonna paint some mistletoe. I've got some green on my palette here and a thin liner brush. I'm gonna do a little cluster of mistletoe right up here. So if you look at the shape of mistletoe leaves, they're kind of bulbous at the end, and then they get smaller as they go towards the stem. So I'm doing like a really long teardrop shape. And just doing, I'm not gonna draw the stem quite yet. I'm just doing a couple. I'm gonna do one that's coming across the stem like that. Because mistletoe also tends to kind of just be wonky and go where it wants, which is cool. I'm gonna kind of wipe off the gel a little bit and just make these really thin. Continue that down like that, and then I'm gonna add some teeny tiny ones. And then I think maybe we need another stem somewhere, kind of curving and going this way over the pine cone. All right, we'll add more details to that in another step, but the next step is I'm gonna paint a cute little Christmas bow, kind of just trailing up. First, I'm gonna paint the bow loops. So next I'm gonna do the tails of the bow. I'm gonna do one coming up and then kind of around, just barely. and make it look like it's going behind the pine cone. Just like that. And then fill it in. Okay, and then this bottom one is going to come out and around like this. Kind of a dramatic exit off of the nail. All right, give that a good cure. While that is curing, I'm gonna mix just a teeny tiny bit of black in with my warm green. Just grab a little bit of green. Mix this in. I'm going to create dimension in the bow by adding a little indication of a loop. Being back here. Okay, and then I'm going to add little creases right here, as well as kind of shadow in the background of the tails. Now we're gonna do the knot in the center of the bow. I made sure to do the shadows first so that I could do the knot over it and it would be more realistic. You know, as realistic as something like this can get. Okay, I'm gonna cure that. One more thing for the bow, I'm just gonna add a tiny, tiny bit of shadow to the knot to make it look rounded. I'm also gonna add some shadow to the mistletoe. I'm not doing all the leaves, I'm just doing some of the bigger leaves that stand out to me. Next is time to outline. So I'm grabbing a bit of black. All right, I wiped off the sticky layer so that the gel will hold its shape a little bit more, and we're gonna work from the top down for ease purposes. And I'm just gonna lightly outline these leaves. For the pine cone, I'm gonna go around the outside to outline it against the red background. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna go around and outline the tops of these light areas. Okay, so now that I've gone around the tops of them, I'm going to just very abstractly outline the bottom. I'm not connecting these bottom outlines to anything, and I'm doing a little bit of a twisted smile shape, just with a little point at the bottom for some of them. And then some of them, like the smaller ones, I'm doing more of just a straight line. Okay, now I'm gonna outline the bow. You know what I didn't do? I did not shade this part of the bow. And this design takes a lot of concentration. I can't even talk while I paint. I'll probably have to time lapse a lot of this. I forgot to add some shadow up here, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna cure that all for a good minute. So I forgot to add the berries for the mistletoe, so I just mixed some green and white together, made a lighter green color, and put some dots up there to represent those mistletoe berries. Now I'm gonna put in the snow. So I'm going on the tops of all of these objects and just doing little kind of snow drifts. I'm making some thicker and some thinner. Some are kind of coming over the side. Okay, so I did the pine cone. Now I'm gonna do the leaves. And for the leaves, I'm dragging my brush from the thickest part of the leaf and down. And I'm just gonna do tiny dots on the berries as well. Okay, and then the bow, last but not least. Alright, that looks pretty snowy to me. Before I cure that, I'm gonna do my classic snow effect. Take some clear acrylic powder and pour the powder over that wet gel and let it just kind of sink in. Get all angles. I've done this in several videos now, but it's the perfect texture for snow and velvet. And okay, now I'm checking to see if there are any parts of the white gel that are still shiny, where it needs more powder. Okay, cure that for a good minute. So I forgot to put a top coat on before I did the snow. So this is an experiment. We're just gonna see what it looks like when you put top coat over the acrylic. There's still a bit of texture in there. All right, I'm gonna cure that. Sorry, dudes, I just kind of ruined that video. Oh well. This is a prototype that I did before I started filming that has a top coat on and then the white with the acrylic powder. So that's what that looks like. Let's see what this one looks like. All right, interesting. So it has a little bit of shine, the snowy parts, right? But it's still textured. Huh. That's cool. I bet if you did another shiny coat over top of it, it would take away that texture, but I think it's cool. Well, you learn something new every day, guys. Let me know if you like it this way, or if you can even tell a difference. But I like it. I love the mistletoe and the bow and how the bow wraps around. Just add some lovely detail to it all. And the pine cones. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below of some nail art that you would like to see me try. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.